Hello, beautiful souls and healing warriors. I have been guided to come on here and share a little story that I feel could help a lot of people make sense of our mind body connection and how it relates to our emotions and how it relates to trauma. So, before I get into the story, trauma is anything that really causes dysregulation within our body. Trauma is anything that makes us feel unsafe, unsettled, and where we don't experience joy. Trauma can be something as small as someone yelling at you, someone judging you. It could be something you see happen to other people that makes you feel unsafe. Trauma could be someone passing that you love. Could be you get in a car accident, breaking something. It could be trickling events from one initial event all causing a sense of trauma within you. Trauma could also be something, and I always use this example, of you're sitting there as a child and you're playing, let's say like with Barbies or horses or cars, and you're having fun. Whether you're playing with yourself or with other people, you're playing, you're having fun. And there's an interaction going on around you. Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's older siblings, neighbors, it's in a school. And there's a lot of anger within those relationships. So even if it's your back is to it, especially if it's people you love and there's bickering and fighting and disharmony, it is coming into your energy field, making you feel like the tension of the situation. Now, every time you go to play, even if it's not with the Barbie doll, the horses, the cars, maybe now it's with something else, but that bickering is happening again. Over time, the more that happens, you begin to associate play with tension, with fear, with disharmony. And then, let's say it's the horses. All of a sudden, when you get older, you now relate horses with the tension, with the fear, with the disharmony. And it's very, very deeply in your subconscious. And the same with the Barbie dolls, right? Or the playing with the cars. So this is something, hopefully that gives you guys a little understanding, because when we say people have trauma, like people are like, oh, well, 9/11 happened, the guy's legs got blown off. Yeah, that is trauma. That's a severe thing of trauma. Also, everyone else who didn't get their legs blown off, who were there in it or watching it or had someone that was there, are also experiencing trauma, because in that moment there was unsafety and it was unsettling. And the more we can learn to regulate our emotions in situations that feel unsafe or there is a lot of external energy happening, the more we can regulate how we're feeling, the less we're taking in the impact of that energy of others or the entire collective of what they're feeling in that moment. So I hope that makes sense. I could go on about trauma for a long time, but trauma is something we don't fully learn about in healthcare. It's like, oh, they have PTSD because they had trauma, so they must have been at war, or they must have been a rape victim, or they must have gotten a tragic car accident and people died. It's like, yes, that does cause trauma, that causes feeling unsafety, but also it could be you walking your dog and you see another dog like attack somebody. And so now every time you go to walk your dog, you're aware of where that attack was. You have nerves around it, right? It's a matter of getting yourself to feel safe to continue walking, right? Rather than pushing it down or avoiding that walk or avoiding that street or that area, it's like, how can I feel safe and walk, right? So I'm guided to share a trauma that happened to me that I didn't realize was a trauma. Other people will be like, that's a trauma. It's like, yeah, it is. But it was. So when I think it was in like 2000, want to say 18 or 17. I was like between 27 and 28. I can't even do math right now, but I was talking to this guy who had 2 dogs, and one of the dogs, and what is this? Peanut butter. Sorry. I had seen these dogs. I've been around these dogs before, but one of the dogs was his family dog and one was his dog. Now, one of the dogs was an Akita. I was petting behind the Akita's ears, and facing it. I had done it before. This time, it didn't like it, and it jolted at me and bit my eye. Its tooth went right into my right eye, and the other dog, which was a pit bull, came and lunged over me and laid on me to protect me from the Akita. I immediately fell to the floor, started screaming, squeezing in my body, tense, couldn't see. There was so much nerve pain, and I acted like obviously you could tell I wasn't okay. But the person I was with was like, "Oh, you're fine." I'm like, not fine. I couldn't open my eyes, in so much pain. I don't even remember if I put ice on it. I was just kind of like, I want to get the fuck home, right? I don't even remember why I didn't go home that night. I forget what it was. I think that we both didn't realize the trauma that was caused from that situation, but like I felt very unsafe in that house and I wanted to get out. So the next day, I literally can't see. My left eye, I barely get open. I text one of my friends at the time, and I sent a picture of my face, and she was like, holy crap. Came and got me, brought me to Ancestral Hospital in Massachusetts, and they immediately took me in. They were like, they had to literally like pry my eye open, and I had cellulitis behind my eye. So the dog had ripped my retina and my cornea. So I was on antibiotics in the hospital for 6 days or something like that. And they kept pumping morphine into me, even though I kept telling them not to, because morphine doesn't help with nerve pain. It was just making me tired, and they kept putting the bed alarm on me. And I was like, hell no. But kept giving me antibiotics. I couldn't see. All the doctors thought I was going to be blind. It was trauma. And it happened right after, it was about 6 months. Yeah. Give or take. Trying to remember. No, I hadn't graduated nursing school yet. See, you're in trauma, you forget the events around it. Wow. Right? I can't even remember. Either way, I was going to be a nurse. And, no, I was still a nurse. I was a nurse then. Sorry, because I got fired from jobs. So I was a nurse then. And when this happened, I was working in the nursing home, the rehab. Okay, it's coming back to me. Sorry. So the person whose dog did this to me was a dick. And my father had found out that they didn't put the dog down, and had found out that the dog had bit other people before and was put down. I mean, was never put down. And then it did it to me. And my dad was like, huge Papa Bear. He was so mad. And I was like, I don't even care. Like, I just don't care. Like, I just want this over with. I want to disassociate from this, because this sucks. Because I was at a point where I'd be driving to work when I got out of the hospital. My eye would just pop open, and like I couldn't see. Everything got blurry and black. Swelled, was watery, and extremely painful. And I was nursing, and I couldn't work. And I would have to literally like call into work, like trying to find the number, while I remember like driving on 93, like trying to find the number to call them and be like, I literally can't come in, I need to go to the doctor's. And I had to do that with my bartending job at the time too. But it got to a point where they were like, you can't just keep calling out. I'm like, I literally can't see. Like my eye, my cornea kept abrupting. It kept ripping open. And I had found out that the eye drops that one of the doctors had given me was causing my eye to continue to erupt, because you weren't supposed to be on it for more than a couple weeks. And they didn't want to tell me that. So I looked up the medicine, because like, what is causing this to keep opening? And I was like, oh my God, I'm not supposed to be taking this. So then I had this mistrust now around doctors in that facility. So now I have to find another facility that will take my insurance and find a good reputable eye doctor. I found an eye doctor who was awesome. And he was like, you're not supposed to be taking those eye drops. Like, that's basically going to cause you to be blind. I'm like, oh, great. I had 20/20 vision prior. I have 20/20 vision again now. But when I kept going for the eye visits, it wasn't 20/20. I don't remember what it was, but it was bad in my right eye. So about 6 months of me driving, 6 months of me going to work and stuff. I just lost my train of thought, sorry. I was in fear of my eye keep breaking open, okay? Now, I was applying for oncology jobs because I no longer wanted to work in the nursing rehab. It was a locked unit downstairs, Alzheimer's floor, which was very, very sad. And I learned a lot in the immediate care and everything, but it wasn't for me. I wanted to do oncology nursing. So that summer, now we're going through a lawsuit with that person's family. I have to sit and talk to the insurance agent who interviewed me and told me that that family said I stabbed myself in the eye with a pencil because I didn't want to work in the rehab anymore. What? So I just went to school. I changed colleges twice to go to a third college for prerequisites, busted my ass, paid my way for school by myself, and graduated, got a job, working my ass off to now stab myself in the eye. Like, you kidding me? So that was another part of me not feeling safe and like very angry, that I'm like, just fuck it, forget about it. Pushed it down. Pushed down the fact that I got fired. Pushed it down for my bartending job. Pushed it down. And that summer, when I was talking to the insurance agent and everything, going through it, they were saying that my lawyer was saying that don't go outside without sunglasses on. You can't appear in court because you're a pretty girl and it doesn't look like anything's wrong with your eye, so you won't win the suit. I was like, what? I have literally like PTSD. Like, I would walk in PetSmart with my dog, and when a dog would come near me, I would flinch and freak out. But I would close it up inside. I didn't externally be like, ah! It was internally, I was scared. And so a lot of stuff was happening. But my lawyer was like, yep, you got to keep seeing the eye doctor if you want to continue this, this lawsuit. You have to wear sunglasses all the time. And like, there was a bunch of stuff I had to do, which impeded my socialness of summer and hanging out with my friends, because there was people watching me, like thinking that I stabbed myself in the eye and thinking that I was lying. So that's trauma right there. Now I am going to, not Lake Winnipesaukee, but Saco River with a group of my friends at the time, and I was smoking weed because nothing could hit the nerve pain. I didn't want to keep taking Tylenol. That wasn't doing shit. I didn't want to drink it away because that was causing more pressure, which I found out from trial and error, that alcohol was drying up the sockets. So I started smoking weed. because I needed the nerve pain to go away so I could function and not just be a miserable bitch. Now, with that, we were leaving Saco, and I was in the back seat. The person driving, we ended up getting pulled over. She got a DUI. The other person in the car ended up being me and him both were able to get let go. The cop was saying, like, you should drive. And I said, I'm not driving. Like, I'm not driving. Because I knew what they were going to do. We were in New Hampshire. I was like, I'm not going to drive. So me and the other person that were in the car were sitting outside of the police station. And they were like, do you have anyone to come to pick you up? And I wasn't going to put the other people that were with us that had been drinking in the situation to come pick us up at the police station, right? Absolutely not. So I look up a taxi, get a taxi to come to the police station to pick me and the other person up. The other person, in the meantime, decides to walk away from the police station, walk to the gas station. So now he got charged and PC'd for walking in public, something, whatever, because he had been drinking during the day. So I was like, I am not leaving. I'm sitting here. Then the officer comes over to me and goes, do you have a ride picking you up? And I said, yeah, I have this. This is the confirmation. They said they'll pick me up. They'll be here at this time. And he goes, okay. The other officer said, absolutely not. You're going to come to the station with us. I was like, what? Because we had to move stations. Now I'm in that station. I have the small bag of weed in my bathing suit because we weren't able to be changed. So I'm basically naked. And I am now searched and was then PC'd for having, literally, they couldn't even say how much it was, but I was PC'd because I had marijuana on me. Because I was pretty much naked and was now told that I don't have rights to have a taxi come pick me up when they never told me that I couldn't have someone pick me up. So another trauma state. And now I'm in this cell and I have to call someone. I don't know who to call. I don't know anyone's phone number. They won't give me my cell phone. Finally, I'm like, some lady came over and was like, you know, like, we don't know anybody's number. The girl I was with was a hysterical mess. It was disgusting in there. And the only person I could think of that was sober that would make a 3-hour drive because they owed me was the person whose dog bit me. So I'm like, fuck. Well, they came and picked me up and her up, bailed us out. And so I was just pissed. But you know what happened from that? From being PC'd? They charged me with like a class 2 or like, I forget what it was. They charged me with class something drug, basically saying that I had cocaine or crack on me or heroin. And I had to go to court to fight that. Otherwise, I was going to lose my nursing license in Massachusetts. So trauma again. I wouldn't have been smoking the weed if dog thing didn't happen. Right, like you get the trickle effect, the timeline here. So a lot of stuff happened there, right? Then I had to appear in court and I didn't have a lawyer, but my dad coached me through what to say. We sent in all these documents. Their side couldn't give us anything because they were basically bullshitting that I shouldn't have got PC'd in the first place. And they were trying to catch me up on me smoking. And I was like, absolutely not. And in Massachusetts, it's legal. Like, no. So long story short with that, I had to stand up in front of the judge, who was not a nice person, and basically say that I was like a good, honest person, like what was happening. Meanwhile, there's people who literally had DUIs that smashed into a tree that couldn't remember who was driving and destroyed the car and caused a pile-up accident. And I'm in the same room as them, who are on like their 4th count of DUI, should be arrested. And here I am about to lose my nursing license, all right? So all of this happened. And then relationships from that person all became very toxic. Because I wasn't the person to go around and complain like, yeah, well, this happened to me, or like whatever. So I ended up getting surgery in my eye because I was like, I cannot get my dream job, my nursing dream job, if my eye keeps opening. So I got 56 stitches in my right eye and did end up winning the lawsuit, but I couldn't appear in court because I would be judged based on being a pretty person, despite all of the trauma that had happened. All right. So this last week, on the 18th of January 2023, so like 9-10 years later, about 9 years later, I'm leaning forward, going to hug my friend's dog, who has a ridgeback, who has a huge head, and at the same time the dog was jumping up to cuddle me. Boom, smashed my face, my whole nose. Immediately I could hear the cracks. Only my right eye, like both eyes swelled, but the right eye, like all here. Where did I have the first trauma in my eye? The right eye. All of a sudden, I am frantically screaming and crying. And I didn't do that the first time, even though the first time was more painful because it was like my nerves. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be blind. This time I heard the crack. So I was like, okay, I'm a nurse. I know what's happening here. Shit, I'm gonna have a black eye, swollen, going to a wedding. Fine. It was the emotions that had been trapped from 9 years prior, from the first incident with my eye, that came to the surface that was cracking. And it was literally like bubble wrap. It was like inside my head was bubble wrap. And my eyes, my fiance Kevin, he was like, let me see. I was like, get me fucking ice. I need ice. Because that's all I could say. Because all of a sudden, I was being shown the timeline of events from those basically 2 years from that trauma, the initial bite, that I never dealt with. And it was coming in hot. Like every single person's face, every single conversation, everything that happened, every emotion that I pushed down, and the beliefs that came from me pushing them down in that incident. Like, you're pretty, no one's going to want to listen to you. No one thinks you're smart. And the medical system around, like, just the miscommunication and, like, the lack of research in the medications you're giving somebody, and basically telling me you're going to be blind. And, oh yeah, they told me I had to wear glasses because my vision was so fucked up. Well, I was not going to do that because every time I wore the glasses, my left eye started to hurt. So I'm like, glasses are going to ruin my eyes. No offense to anyone who wears glasses. But instead, I would put the dark light on in my room, curtains. I would literally have to be in the dark room and be by myself. It was terrible because I was in so much pain. My dad hated seeing me like that. So I would play video games. I went out and got the original Nintendo so I could concentrate and strengthen my eye. I was reading. I was journaling. I was strengthening my eye rather than putting on glasses and being like, well, I guess this is my life. Absolutely not. And this is before I knew energy, but I was listening to my body, okay? I didn't think this video would be this long, but apparently there's many parts of me that are talking and speaking, so this is extremely healing for me and probably anybody else who has had one event. Now you can see the sequence of events that have happened, that have caused emotions to be pushed down to continue going, right? So when my nose cracked, I'm screaming for ice, and I'm asking if the dog's okay, because I felt like I traumatized the dog. And Kevin's like, oh my God, because my face blew up, like, and I must have been crying for a couple hours. I was just, crying. And, like, don't touch me. I was spraying magnesium on my face. I was overdosing on CBD, if that's even possible. I drank some wine because I was like, what is happening? It was intense, but I was asking for a couple days prior to that event, for the universe to bring to the surface what is within me that is blocking me from seeing my highest potential. What trauma in me needs to come out that I am not aware of, and in no way will I be able to be aware of it unless something happens. Boom. Literally like 2 days later, that happens. And because I've done so much shadow work on myself, I was able to be aware of what was happening. I was healing all of the energies and the parts in me that were so scared, that were in so many trauma states within those 2 years of everything, right? I don't have to go through the whole thing, but it was a very unsafe time for me. And whenever I want to speak up, but I don't, or whenever something's coming up for me, I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'm like, my jaw, I get so much pain in my jaw. I haven't had any pain all week since my nose because it all came to the surface. Because every time I was scared, or just like I said at the beginning, if you're playing with toys and something loud's going on around you, you clench, right? Somewhere in your body is holding that energy of the clench. It's been in my face. So I still can't breathe out of my right nostril, but I can out of my left. The night before the crack, I'm laying in bed and I literally heard from spirit, or my body, whatever, do a myofascial massage on yourself. I was like, what? Okay. So I'm laying in bed, I'm rubbing, and I can't really do it that much on the side yet, but I'm rubbing, I'm doing tapping, I'm clearing my lymph, and I'm going all under. I'm tapping, I was doing affirmations, and I didn't know why. I was just like, okay, all right, here I go. And I'm doing it. And then the next night this happens. The universe is always talking to us, people. I was literally guided to clear the clogged lymph nodes around all of my sinuses to prepare me for the next day of the brokenness in order to allow the healing. Because if I hadn't done that, because I had so much tenderness in all of my areas where your lymphatic system is, prior to me doing that without knowing. And I know a lot of it too is being on the plane, because everything pops, right? So it was just interesting. My higher self was like, you better do this today, because tomorrow you're getting exactly what you asked for. Stuff to come to the surface. Oh, gotta love spirit. So on Thursday, so that night, I'm like, I gotta play healing frequencies. So I fell asleep listening to healing frequencies. It's 174 with 528, which is what's playing right now. And it's funny, I took a class that Wednesday right before my nose broke, where the teacher, her name's Julie, brought in the frequencies, the different frequencies, how they work with your body. And she played each one to see how we would react. No coincidence there, right? No coincidence. So the two that I wrote down that made my face tingle and feel good were the exact two I played when I couldn't feel my face 2 hours later because my nose broke. The signs are always there, people. So for the next few days, I was literally just listening to healing frequencies. I was telling my body I'm safe. I allowed myself to still go play with my friend's twin boys and have fun. I sat in the sun and I asked the warm sun to heal me, because vitamin D, trigger warning, does not cause cancer. It doesn't cause all the diseases that they say. It's the shit that you put on your body to block the sun that does. Vitamin D, the sun, actually heals us. We need it to survive. We need it to trigger the internal cells within us that bring healing, okay? Trigger. But, so I laid out there and I'm talking to the sun, because if this had happened back in Mass where it was a snowstorm, the healing wouldn't have happened the same way it did. It would have taken much longer. I know that for sure. My body knows that. So that's what I did, and I kind of laughed at it after. I was like, wow, I asked for this, and it had to come this way to break me, to slow me down, to connect to the music, to the sun, to the earth, and to me. To me. So I can know how powerful that event was and how much it affected me on so many levels that I just pushed aside and kept on going. Ow. I don't want to, I have a booger, I have an itch, sorry. So, yeah, that's my story. So our bodies, like I say with Maria, are our greatest tool. They're our greatest medicine. They're always talking to us. They are intelligent vessels. And when we allow ourselves to be that hollow bone, that means that we're removing the intellect, we're removing those protector parts, those victims, those prostitute parts, those firefighter parts. We're removing all of those parts and asking to be the hollow bone, to just let our higher self move in as we listen to our body. Like, we allow our body to speak rather than those little parts in the left side of our brain that are like, nope, don't do this, you're okay, he's an asshole, you're an asshole, you're not worthy to share your story, blah, 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 right? You should have got fired, you were a bad employee, you couldn't drive, you couldn't come to work, like, right? Like, this happened to you because you didn't want to work in a nursing home. Like, all of these thoughts that weren't my truth, but it was what I was feeling because I felt so unsafe for 2 years, or just that. And this is one of many stories, but this is the most recent one that the universe is like, you need to share this, because our body will respond to us when we put intentions out there to have us listen. The more we don't listen to what we need, our body will physically take a toll. Whether something external hits us or comes at us, or we're in an accident or we fall downstairs, versus whether we get ulcers or we get fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is really when you just tense in all of your emotions and you don't let yourself feel, so your whole body's tense and you're just in pain. That's fibromyalgia. So listen to your body. Understand what you're asking for, and be ready, because the universe is going to give it to you. So if you're like asking like, everyone's so miserable, why is everyone so fucking miserable? They're going to keep giving you miserable people to see why they're being drawn to you, because there's something within you that feels miserable, and that's what you need to look at. And with my nose, I had to look at still the fact of unworthiness, still the fact that I felt unsafe, still the fact that I had gotten over my fear of cuddling dogs and big dogs, because I wasn't mad at the dog, the Akita. I was mad at the humans that defended the Akita to attack me when they never properly trained the Akita, and they didn't tell me, hey, by the way, he doesn't like his back of his ears touched. Noted, I won't touch them. Like, they knew that and didn't tell me. So I was never mad at the dog, but everyone projected onto me, so I blamed the dog because I didn't know what to do. And this dog, super loving, I know he would never intentionally do anything to hurt me. And so it had to happen with a dog again, to find that balance, to find that understanding of unconditional love that I know that dog feels for me and others. To me, I have to now feel that unconditional love for myself even more. I know how much of a freaking badass I am for not succumbing to the blindness, for not allowing the morphine to keep being pumped into me, to not allowing, yeah, sure, charge me for a class A drug that I didn't have on me, right? Like, for standing up for myself in every freaking situation, no matter how much shit was hitting to me, but I wasn't allowing myself to feel and process. So, I love you all. Really, really honor your bodies. They're speaking to you. And if you're wondering when's a good time to start listening to your body, it's right now. It is right now. And if you need support in learning somatics and learning how to listen to your body, listen to the emotions trapped in there so you can heal, so you can feel peace, so you can learn and experience life even more, I encourage you to do a discovery call with Maria or I for coaching. Or I also know a lot of people that just do strictly somatic work, and I can send you them. Just reach out, because we're not meant to do this healing journey alone. No. I love you all. Happy healing.